Girl, I read smart, I do not read to fucking think. Hello my lovelies and welcome back to another week on this bookish space of the internet. How are you? How have you been? I love you. I miss you. It's been a week already. I can't believe it. I am so excited to get into today's video, but first, let's sit down, let's get comfortable, let's get something to drink, maybe a little snack, and then let's continue. My drink, of course, is a Rebel because what else would it be? And my fun of choice is having a respiratory infection because my daughter decided to bring that home from daycare. So this video is going to be very entertaining for my throat. But let's get on to why we're here. Today we are doing 1-star reviews of my 6-star reads. Yeah, I'm not ready for this one. I have my handy dandy computer here, I have my Goodreads here, and we're just going to go into my 6-star shelf because honestly, why muck around when we can just get started with this video? You know what I mean? I'm actually scared because I love all of these books so fucking much that like the last thing I want is to be destroyed by like their reviews. I don't know which one to click on because I don't want to be ruined. But it's going to go down the list. We're just going to go down the list. So the first book on this list is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. Now, I am going to read the synopsis just in case you are someone who lives under a rock and you have not read this book, because if you haven't, you need to. A college romance. For years, I've dreamt of what college life could bring, and while some things changed, there was always one constant. It didn't matter how wild I allowed my imagination to run, it always led me to the same place in the end. It led me to him. My future was clear and he was it, until suddenly he wasn't. Now I'm a shell of who I was, on a path too blurry to follow, and I see no way out, no way up. They say first loves last forever. That's exactly what I'm afraid of. You know, there's actually some tea that this might even become a TV series or a movie or something. Only 2% of this book is 1-star reviewed, but that is still 5,655 reviews. No. OMFG, this book is awful. How the hell does it have 4.6 rating? The dialogue is choppy and very immature and sounds like a tween girl wrote it. There's zero emotion. Girl, I don't think we read the same book. And I'm not feeling any chemistry between the protagonists. She's been in love with this guy Chase for 6 years, but from what we get to see of him, I can't figure out why. He's a wimp and an ass. I keep having to go back and reread sentences because the author jumps from one scene to the next with no lead in, and I keep thinking I'm missing something. There are way too many side characters to keep straight, and the twin brother is obsessive and creepy. A lot of reviews talk about how awesome Noah is, but I'm 135 pages into the book and he only appeared in 2 pages of the story so far. I'm done. I have zero interest in these characters or what happens to them. Once again, I hate myself for getting sucked in by the hype. Books about teenagers and their over-the-top ridiculous angsty problems are not for me. I fear she wouldn't have got it if she didn't read the full thing because it sounds like she DNF'd, which is fair. If you want to DNF a book, don't force yourself to read it. But I fear you need to know the plot twist in order to really appreciate the book. In my opinion, she's wrong. That's just all I'm going to say about that. 0 stars, I don't make the rules. It's just the way it is. I don't know why that made me laugh so much. DNF at page 206, chapter 19. Y'all can't say I'm a judgmental bitch when I unwillingly dragged my ass through 200 pages of crappy dialogue, Gen Z slangs, reckless teenagers acting stupid, an overprotective brother who makes my skin crawl. Like, dude monitors her to the extent where he barges in the room when she's about to screw someone, doesn't let her step a foot outside alone, orders her to go to her room like she's a goddamn child. They are twins. P.S. I found the perfect YouTube short to summarize this book. Welcome to my short and sweet review of The Summer I Turned Pretty. Sorry, My Life with the Walter Boys. Sorry, The Kissing Booth. My bad. Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. 90% the all 2 original characters. Belly, Jackie, Elle, Snopes, Ariana, the girl torn between choosing 2 boys, a beach house with no parental surveillance to hold them back, pages of drinking, partying, clubbing, and whatnot, and one last summer of these groups of friends to enjoy their life to the fullest before they have to leave their respective colleges. And now for the C, for the coward. Conrad, Cole, my bad, Chase, the broody grumpy wimp with no personality who is too much of a loser to neither work on his feelings or not let the girl go. The FMC is blindly in love with this asshole and none of us can see why. Jeremiah, Alex, my brain is rotting. Marco, nah. Noah, the sunshine, sweet, sunny, chirpy boy who happens to have every quality a woman looks for in a man, who is always emotionally supportive to the girl. Very obviously should be the only choice, but the author always saves him for some drama. This romance genre is tiring me. I'm not gonna lie, that was funny. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty funny. This whole book was giving, trust me bro, and unfortunately I did. Pre-read. This book's been hyped up so much, so let's see if it's actually worth it. I kept waiting for it to get better and it never did. I'm not gonna lie, these are kind of making me giggle a little bit. Like, and it's not even like giving real reasons why, it's just like it's overdone. They were just waiting for something different. And that's totally okay. Like, if it's not something that you expected and you didn't like it, there's nothing wrong with that. I can respect it if you're admitting that you're not a huge fan of the book without actually just being really, really hurtful to the author. I absolutely hated this. Chase got on my fucking nerves. Ariana pissed me the fuck off. And how the fuck was Noah so fucking perfect? I honestly might leave Say You Swear There. I did about 6 reviews. I think 6 was enough. I fear this next one is genuinely going to hurt me. This has been one of my most recent 6-star reads, and that is Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. There is nothing you could say about this book that would, like, I would not agree with you. There is nothing anybody could say about this book that I would agree with. The synopsis, if you will: when people-pleasing Chloe learns that her birth mother has unexpectedly had another baby, she doesn't hesitate to become a next of kin guardian. But when she fails to pass Child Protective Services and financial evaluation, she is faced with a choice: see her baby sister placed in foster care or participate in CPS's new initiative, Team Up. Enter Warren, a surly apprentice mechanic attempting to get custody of his deaf 15-year-old brother after failing CPS's housing evaluation. When two strangers immediately clash but agree to live together until Warren can find housing elsewhere and Chloe can further grow her freelance career. As their lives intertwine, Chloe and Warren both realize that they're far more similar than they could have ever imagined. What started as forced begins to feel natural and far less lonely. Chemistry soon intensifies beyond what either of them can stand, but they must each decide if what burns between them is worth risking their arrangement and ultimately the well-being of their siblings. If you can't tell, I have children, so a book like this where it's about losing yourself in becoming a parent and just how isolating and lonely it can be, that will always get me. And I think that's what made it a 6-star for me, because I can relate to it personally, because I am in that stage of motherhood right now where it is all consuming and it is like my whole identity. That is why I'm trying so hard to do this social media thing, because I'm trying to do something for me. The fact that this book is only a 3.74 on Goodreads actually breaks my heart, because for me, this book is a 6-star. There's no way for me that this book is anything less. Oh god, I'm so nervous. Okay, but again, this only has a 1% of 1 star, but that is still 698 reviews. Oh, I'm nervous because I love this. 1 star. Words cannot express just how disappointed I was by this book. I'm about to go full out rant because I have so much to say. Hang on, girl. Alright, I'm ready. The positives about this book. The first half of the book was really good. The book was set up for success. It seemed like it was going to be really, really good. The plot was progressing and it was interesting. I like the setup of what could have been regarding the MC. However, the good stops there. The first point I'd like to make about this book: the characters were shallow. So damn shallow. This was supposed to be a cute, fluffy read with some dark undertones regarding alcoholism and drug use. It had the potential to be so good, but all of these issues were completely surface level to the point where you question why it was even included. I don't agree with that personally, but okay. I don't agree with it, but okay. It did not help the progression of the book. The characters literally had 0 personality. Again, I disagree. I really, like, I felt myself in Chloe, like the way she tries to make everybody happy. There are literally scenes where she makes herself smaller to appease other people, and he literally calls her out on it. And there's literally a quote where he says, "Why do you make yourself seem smaller to please others?" No, see, I don't agree with that, but okay, like, that's totally fine. They're allowed to have their opinion. I felt more of a connection talking to a rock than I did with anyone in this book. I think it takes the cake of being the most boring and simple-minded characters that I've ever had the displeasure of reading about. I think because the characters themselves weren't meant to be the main plot point. If you actually read her acknowledgements of the book, she writes this book because she talks about how isolating and lonely it can be if you do not have a village to have children. And as someone that does not have a village, this book really struck to me. Like, and not to pull the whole you won't understand if you don't have children, but I think in a book like this, it's something that you might not understand as well if you've not experienced it, if you've not lived it. Secondly, there was 0 chemistry and tension between the MCs. I was literally blushing on the 3rd page that they met. I was literally blushing and gushing. It started out having a lot of potential and I was really excited to see how the relationship developed. Wrong, so wrong. They go from strongly disliking each other and only doing this for their siblings to suddenly maddeningly in love within 2 months. I think it's from the moment they meet, there is an attraction. He literally calls her a hot girl in sign language, not thinking she can read sign language, and she goes, "Oh, well, like, thanks." Like, she can read him, and he was not ashamed by it. And he goes around talking about her to everybody, and I think the fact that there is someone in her life that is proud of her and all the hard work she's doing, even if they barely know each other, that meant a lot to Chloe, because she is someone that doesn't get a lot of praise. So I think having someone that is proud of her definitely helps her, and she does talk about how attractive she finds him as well. So I think from the very beginning there is that initial chemistry and attraction. I think definitely it is a little bit fast, like I'm not going to deny that. I think they definitely did go from like not exactly dislike but just acquaintances to like, oh my god, like you are amazing. They did do that, they did jump that, I'm not gonna lie, but it explains why it was jumped. I have never read such a sudden change. It gave me whiplash. The connection they do have is completely all sexual, and that is so disappointing. They say they're in love with each other, but all they talk about is sex, sex, sex. I'm annoyed, please stop. I mean, I personally didn't see that, but okay. Third, the insta love in this book was insane. Holy crap, they go from hating each other to tolerating each other to loving each other in a matter of chapters. I kid you not, that is exactly how it went. If you're an insta love fan and then I show you this right up your alley, unfortunately I am the complete opposite. Don't even get me started on the singing scene. I swear to God, I would jump out of my window if I have to think about that scene ever again. It was supposed to be romantic, but it was so cringy. The fact that this is my first Hannah Bonham Young book and it ended up being like that. I've heard amazing things about Out on a Limb, and if it's anything like this, I'm going to throw a fit. I cannot and will not subject myself to a book like this again. I will keep an open mind and give her another shot, but it's safe to say that this author and I am not starting off on the right foot. I think that one was just a lot of personal opinion, and that's totally fair because that is all that they are. It is all a matter of subjective. It's all a matter of how you view the book. No one else is going to see the book exactly the way that you do. That's the thing about reading it. Nobody is going to have the exact same opinion as you, but it's so great when you have people that are like-minded as you. And I think especially because this book means so much to me, the fact that like that was the first one that I read right off the bat, I'm like now really nervous to read any others. Sorry. Please, the singing was my last straw. Was the singing that? I can't even remember the scene that they're talking about. Like, I feel like that scene wasn't as bad as people make it out to because I can't even remember what scene it is. I need to stop listening to book talk recommendations. Honestly, sometimes same. There are some books on Book Talk that I'm just like, what the fuck is this? DNF at page 210. DNFing a Hannah Bonham Young book should be illegal, but here I am doing just that. The premise of this book had amazing potential. The first part of the book had me pretty hooked, but then the relationship happened out of nowhere. And I was so confused as to how and when that happened. I couldn't connect any of the characters, and I felt like they were pretty surface level, even though they had pretty deep pasts. I felt like I was back in high school reading this book, and the way that the characters were acting with each other. This makes me so sad because I had such high hopes. I mean, look, there must clearly be some truth to it if now multiple people have said that it feels very surface level and it happened very quickly. Clearly, it is a common opinion. However, it is not an opinion that I had. So you're wrong. I'm kidding. Do you know for like 80% this was so boring and confusing, homegirls in love with him after 2 seconds? The Insta love gave me the ick and the serenading pushed me over the end. Everybody hates the damn serenade. Is it bad that I generally just can't remember the serenade? I just can't. I can't remember it. Alright, we're gonna read one more and then we're gonna move on. 31 mentions of smirking, not one instance needed. God, okay. Alright, that one was a funny one, so I will give it one more. The fact that she counted how many mentions of smoking there were. Girl, that's funny. Chloe and Warren's story was captivating at the start. I truly wanted to know how they would overcome the obstacles set in front of them as individuals, not a couple. Did I want them together from the start? Yes, I'm not going to lie, but I was more emotionally invested in the children. Fair. After the 60% mark, the book became very dull and slow for me. Usually after the halfway mark, the plot picks up the pace, but this one didn't. I do love this author, but this book didn't make me want to shout from the rooftops about it. Fair enough, fair enough. I think one of the reasons that I like this book so much was that it was more slower paced. It didn't give you that kind of anxiety feeling. I think that was the whole point. I mean, in my opinion, I think the whole point was that they were calm. Like, they had a stressful situation, but there was calmness in it, which I think might have been the point. But maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about and I'm just wrong. Next is a YA contemporary romance. Actually, no smut involved in this one. Shocking, I know. This one is called Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. This book came out in 2018, so I read this a few years ago. And it actually was a Goodreads Choice Award. It was a nominee for Reader's Favourite Adult Fiction in 2018. For Penny Lee, high school was a total non-event. Her friends were okay, her grades were fine, and while she somehow managed to land a boyfriend, he doesn't actually know anything about her. When Penny heads to college in Austin, Texas to learn how to become a writer, it's 79 miles and a zillion light years away from everything, and she can't wait to leave behind. Sam's stuck, literally, figuratively, emotionally, financially. He works at a cafe and sleeps there too, on a mattress on the floor of an empty storage room upstairs. He knows that this is god-awful chapter of his life that will serve as inspiration for when he's a famous movie director. But right this second, the $17 in his checking account and his dying laptop are really testing him. When Sam and Penny cross paths, it's less meet-cute and more collision of unbearable awkwardness. Still, they swap numbers and stay in touch via text and soon become digitally inseparable, sharing their deepest anxieties and secret dreams like the humiliating awkwardness of having to see each other. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm very nervous about this. Okay, this one does have a 3% 1-star rating, which is 1,560. I'm nervous, let's get into it. Need I say more? I read 20% of this book, which is under my normal guideline to read at least 30% of any book. I don't need to read any more of it to know that I was never going to be interested. The things that drove me crazy. 1, she covets her phone like it's sacred. It's an important device, I get that, but it doesn't need to be worshipped or be anyone's precious. Again, she's like a 17-year-old girl. Kind of makes sense, but okay. I know a lot of 17-year-old girls that think their phone is the most important thing in the world, so with that information as you will. Just because it's not important to you doesn't mean a 17-year-old girl isn't going to find it important. I know lots of young girls that say these things, but I don't care how authentic it is. It's never okay to greet friends as hey bitch or hi whore. Okay, fair enough, but sometimes I will literally be talking to friends, we'll be calling each other not very nice names. So I feel like that is just like, obviously, I don't love reading about it in books. I mean, I agree. Like, especially when, like, I read a book and I hate when they say bae. Like, hey, babe. Like, to me, that's a personal ick. That's a personal ick. I'm not going to hold that on the author because I don't like it. Typical cliche characters, neither are gal nor guy. See, gal, I hate gal. And there you've said it. We're guy, we're any more than a stereotypical teenage kid. I like my characters to have personalities. Thanks. Well, then why are you reading about teenagers? Teenagers are all the fucking same. If you want them to have personality, have them have completed something in life. Make them have a struggle. They're 17. They don't know anything. The writing is really poor, I'm sorry to say, but it felt stilted and boring. I never once felt like I got the impression in my mind of the characters of what was happening. It felt like I was reading random words on a page that was desperate to make me mean something. Did I mention the phone thing? My girl was really pressed about that phone. I feel like I actually got really pressed with that review, so I'm going to try to do a little bit better. I'm super disappointed I don't like this book. I thought it would be a 5-star read as I ordered it as soon as I heard about it. The synopsis seemed so interesting, but the book itself was the biggest letdown this far in 2018. I can't believe I actually finished reading this. Definitely not my cup of tea. The characters were not easily related to the extreme amount of negativity they had throughout the entire book. I didn't see a lot of character development. I kept waiting for the plot to get more, I don't know, better, but there was a lack of depth for the secondary characters as well. Many of them seeming like tropes from other contemporary books I've read before. I also didn't like the way the characters spoke about certain issues. There are a lot of comments that seemed borderline racist, and it made this even worse read for me. I know others have really enjoyed this book, and I'm hoping more people enjoy this book. However, for me, it was a letdown. Okay, honestly, that's so fair. I think people are forgetting this is meant to be like a 17-year-old. DNF on page 140, all Penny talked about was her boyfriend and how hot Sam was, and all Sam did was complain. I mean, honestly, Sam had a reason to complain. Sam was not living the greatest life. If I was texting a super hot guy, all I would do was talk about him too. But I do text a super hot guy. I text my boyfriend. DNF 50%. The best way I could describe this book is emo fangirl written by drunk John Green. Emergency contact follows Penny as she's starting college. She's an introvert and struggles to interact with the new people she meets there. But she does connect with someone at Sam, the cute guy who works at the cafe and kind of lost in life. There isn't one redeeming quality about the story. The characters were extremely annoying. The writing felt amateur and over the top. This plot has been done a million times in previously published contemporary novels. Wow, really? Really? It's been done before? My God, who would thought that not every single book ever written is fully like completely independently its own? Who would have thought? Not me. I thought most books were pretty fucking similar. Not gonna lie, I did not know that a requirement for a book to be published would have had to have no quality the same as anyone else's. Oh my God, girl, you broke the code. What made me give up was Penny. It's been a while since I've hated the protagonist this much. She just loves calling people racist because they voice their stereotypes on Asian people. I will just say the author is of Asian heritage. And then 2 pages later describes Australian as generic British. Her inner monologue was just stupid. I don't even know how someone could find this enjoyable. Easy 1-star DNF. I fear that for some reason this one is really getting to me, and I don't know why. So I fear that only after a few reviews we have to move on to the next one, because I don't know what is happening with this, but like, I am genuinely feeling my heart. I'm getting angry. Girl, it's no need to be this angry. This one is another nostalgic read for me. This one is also another Goodreads choice winner, a nominee for Reader's Favorite Young Adult Fiction 2016. This is Walk the Edge by Katie McGarry. This is a Thunder Road novel. It is book 2. Personally my favorite, and that is not because the FMC's name is Bree either, but it's personally my favorite. High school senior Thomas Razor Turner knows his family has a dark history as part of the Reign of Terror motorcycle club, especially when it comes to the secrecy surrounding his mother's death. When Razor starts to dig deeper into his mum's case, he turns to the unlikeliest source of his classmate Brianna Miller, the shy, smart girl he's never looked twice at. But the more they spend together, the more the more they spend time together, the more they realize they actually have in common and how attracted to each other they really are. But secrets from the past are revealed. Can their newfound feelings survive? This book, I love this book. I really do. This one has a less than 1%. There's only 85 one-star reviews. The first thing I see, somebody please take a gun and shoot me through my skull. My God. This book deserves its own award. I have no idea how or why it's a GR Choice nominee. I really don't get it. One, most cliche stereotypical character 2016, Brianna Miller. She's smart, so obviously she's unpopular and scared and way out of the bad boys league. Two, biggest hormone-driven sexist ripped arsehole of 2016, Thomas Razor Turner, of course. He refers to Bree as my girl and is extremely possessive as her and hasn't had one meaningful conversation with her buddies in love. Oh no! Someone that's extremely possessive and then calls them my girl, oh my God. Worst romance ever, Brianna and Razor. They lust after each other for about a week, then they have sex and they're in love without any connection. Not to mention their relationship has started because she was shit scared of him, but he ignored all attempts to ward him off in order to get closer to her because he wanted to use her brain. No, I'm not kidding, he says that. Yeah, he's very open about it too. No, he's very open about that. But okay. I Like to Know Over Here, which is the first of the series. It was even funny at times, but this was just pathetic. Two teenagers playing at relationships because of how messed up their life was. Cringe-worthy quotes. He's here, blonde hair, blue eyes, a body so ripped that every girl near him is gaping. It's Razor. Yes, we know it's Razor because of the million times you think about him. Also, is it just me or is it weird that she always describes him before saying his name? Like, what the fuck? I'm sick of his angelic face preceding his name all the time. I like tunneling my fingers into hair like that when I kiss a girl. Yeah, Brianna Miller transformed over the summer. That's what I call blossoming. Our main character, guys, he's totally not an obnoxious dick. I outline one of his bruises on his stomach with my fingertips and appreciate his chiseled chest. This is after he's shot by a bullet. He almost died, and this is her reaction. One breath in, another out. A steady build-up of sexual tension, so I think the air between us grows warmer. I can't even. Yuck. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Diva made me fucking laugh so much my respiratory infection played up. That was brutal. I thought it was so funny. I get that terrible family is a Katie McGarry's thing, because they kind of are. But oh my God, not everyone's family is that terrible. Well, how about just regular bad for contrast once in a while? Would that be so terrible? Needless to say, this did not work for me at all. Not really because of the romance, though, that was overwrought, but because of the awful secondary characters. I will probably still read Violet and Chevy's book because I hate myself. I wasn't a huge fan of Violet and Chevy's book, but a lot of these I can't read because it does actually spoil the book. But let's just say the one that I did read, very fucking funny. Very funny. Now, I do have two books that I am not going to do the reviews for, and that is Releasing 10 and Redeeming 6, because I already know what their one-star reviews are going to be, and I don't want to deal with that. I don't have the mental capacity to deal with that, so they are getting skipped. So I will not be reading those one-star reviews, but just know on my 6-star tier list, there is also Releasing 10 and Redeeming 6. We Were Liars. Now, everybody loved the show for this, but they all hated the book. I personally loved the book. I think they were really well done, but I did read them when I kind of first got into reading. This is the synopsis. A beautiful and distinguished family, a private island, a brilliant damaged girl, a passionate political boy, a group of 4 friends, the liars whose friendships turn destructive, a revolution, an accident, a secret, lies upon lies, truth, love, true love, the truth. I personally really loved this. It has a 4-star. It is 4% 1-star reviews, but that is 60,000 1-star reviews. Ooh, I'm nerdy. It's been a while since I have so totally hated a book. I personally love the books. I even have, you know how they write on the back of their hands? I even have be a little kinder than you have to. It is very smudged. I do need to get it fixed. I hate thinking, me too. Well, this was kind of all kinds of pointless and so depressing. Ugh. Well, yeah, it's meant to be It's meant to be depressing. Girl, whatever. The writing is so mannered, it's an affectation, a studied display of real or pretend feeling. The whole book lacks effect. Girl, I didn't even read all of that. That hurt my brain. Girl, I read smart. I do not read to fucking think. We were tedious. Y'all hyped this one up and I will never forgive you. It's so bad that I want to give you a 0, but that's not possible, so I give you a 1. Damn, these people are brutal. Genuinely the stupidest book ever written. Yeah, and here's a lie for you. This book was good. I'm going to take everyone's word for it and watch the show hoping that's better than whatever this is. We were pretentious. We were boring and choppily written. Not gonna lie, those ones made me giggle a little bit. My daughter has separation anxiety and she's not doing well that I'm upstairs and she's downstairs, so I had to go calm her down. But now we are on to Fourth Wing. Enter the brutal and elite world of a war college of dragon riders. I'm puffed out from those stairs. 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. God, I'm so out of breath. Now the commanding general, also known as her toughest Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre dragon riders. Girl, I would not be able to be a dragon rider. I'm popped out from my fucking stairs. But when you're smaller than everybody else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away because dragons don't bond to fragile humans, they incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter, like Xaden Ryerson, the most powerful and ruthless wing leader of the Riders Squadron. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise, yet with every day that passes, the war outside grows deadly, the kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Friends, enemies, lovers, everyone at Basgirth War College has an agenda because once you enter, there are only two ways out: to graduate or die. This is a less than 1% 1 star, but that is still 35,658 1-star reviews. 1.5 out of 5. New year, new half-year resolution. I need to stop taking recommendations from Book Talk. Honestly, fair. The thing is that I hate reading the reviews that are just far too long. Be short, be witty, be funny. Look, this one has spoilers. I'm not going to read them, but the first line was funny. If I had $1 million for every cliche in this book, of which there are a multitude, I still regret spending $20 on all 498 pages of this mess. Sarah, you are spicy. Did not finish. I'd like to know if I'm actually reading the same book as everyone else. This is the worst piece of literature I've ever read in a long while. I got to chapter 8. Couldn't go any further. But that's alright, Diva, because there's a TV show coming. You can just watch that instead because it's so wildly successful. I love when people hate things and it becomes like movies and TV shows and it's like... There's a valuable lesson to be learned here, and it's that when you see the entire Goodreads community read a 5-star the same book, you run as fast as you can in the other direction. I mean, hey, Diva. Clock it. It's giving, I'm so different than other girls. Even though I'm pretty sure that's a man. Okay, look, next we have Onyx Storm, but I'm not going to do the synopsis for Onyx Storm because if you haven't read Fourth Wing, which if you haven't, like, surely there's no one that exists that hasn't read it. If you haven't, I don't want to spoil it for you. So I'm just going to go straight into the 1 star. It is negative 1 star, so like there's not that many. And it is only there's 16,876 1-star reviews. This was the most boring, dumbest fucking shit that I've ever read in my life. It actually made Iron Flame look decent. Girl. Sending hate from Ohio. Not another 500-page Wattpad fic. Girl, I love 500-page Wattpad fics. What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't have words for how bad this is. She's so brave for publishing this. These bitches are making me laugh so hard, my fucking respiratory infection is making me cough. ChatGPT is so bad at writing, but Rebecca Yarros is even worse. But at least Rebecca Yarros isn't like fucking up our planet, you know? My Hoover has more chemistry with fallen hairs behind the couch than Violet and Xaden. I'm just gonna pretend I never read it. Please play along. Okay, this one's a spoiler. If you have not read it, please skip this spoiler. Turning Venin made Xaden eat arse. Xaden and Violet giving that one couple in line at the amusement park that just won't get the fuck off each other. 1 star. I'm convinced Rebecca Yarros had a gun to the head of everyone that rated this higher than 2 stars. I love that she made the 1 star so pretty though. Right, we're gonna move on from this one now. I think on the topic of romantasy, we have to get into Quicksilver now. Do not touch the sword. Do not turn the key. Do not open the gate. 24-year-old Sarah's Fane is good at keeping secrets. No one knows about the strange power she possesses or the fact that she has been picking pockets and stealing from the undying queen's reservoirs for as long as she can remember. In the land of the unforgiving desert, there isn't much a girl wouldn't do for a glass of water. But a secret is like a knot. Sooner or later, it is bound to come undone. When Ceres comes face to face with death himself, she inadvertently reopens a gateway between realms and is transported to a land of ice and snow. The Fae have always been the stuff of myth, of legend, of nightmares, but it turns out they're real. And Ceres has landed right in the middle of a centuries-long conflict that just might get her killed. The first of her kind to tread the frozen mountains of really in over 1,000 years, Ceres mistakenly binds herself to Kingfisher, a handsome fair warrior who has secrets and nefarious agendas of his own. He will use her alchemist magic to protect his people no matter what it costs him or her. Death has a name. It is Kingfisher of the Argent Gate. He is past as murky, his attitude stinks, and he's the only way Ceres is going to make it home. Be careful of the deals you make, dear child. The devil is in the details. Now, with an embossed cover, silver foiling. This has a 1% 1-star review, 10,324 reviews. I'm convinced everyone is being held at gunpoint rating this 5 stars. DNF. Bravo, you're so different than us. Bravo. I feel so bad for all the talented fantasy authors because how is this popular? The dialogue and writing are so derogatory millennial. Rare. Damn. Someone's got claws. You know who I feel bad for? Your mom. This is the age of romance authors dabbling in fantasy and romance readers 4 to 5 starring them. What's wrong with that? Because it gives a shit like this book. I could tell from Timu. I'm not even reading the rest of that review because that was golden. That's all it needed. That's all that review needed, because the more you continue to it, the more it's going to piss me off. If your name is Kingfisher, I'm seeing you like this. Do you have the 41%? Queen, don't make me laugh. Fuck, some of you bitches are funny. I don't have enough words to describe just how much I despise this book. You had 14 of them. Did I have to count exactly how many words were in that sentence? Yes, I did. By the grace of God, I will never listen to book talk again. I wasn't going to rate this because this book made me so mad, but it's been days and I'm still thinking about how horrible this book is, so here you go. This book's popularity is one of the signs of the impending apocalypse. I'm so serious. Worst book I've ever read. I would give it 0 stars if I could. Okay, but what kind of apocalypse are we talking? Are we talking zombie apocalypse? Are we talking radioactive apocalypse? Like, how are we talking about, like, media coming? Like, what end of the world? Because how many books do I need to take with me and where am I going? We're going to move on to the last book. Sadly, this is the end. This is the last book. We have Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I'm really nervous about this one because, again, this one is a nostalgic read for me. So the fact that some people don't like this is really going to gut me. Set over one school year in 1986, Eleanor and Park is the story of 2 star-crossed misfits, smart enough to know first love almost never lasts, but brave enough and desperate enough to try. Okay, this one has a 3% 1-star rating and is 44,382 reviews. I read this years ago and I loved it and need to change my rating because I would hate this if I read it now. I've been meaning to put this in my review here for ages and kept forgetting about it, but here it is. This book is racist and I wouldn't recommend it. Is this book racist? I haven't read this book in a really, really long time, so please, like, I'm not going to say something isn't racist because I don't see it, because I have the privilege of not seeing a lot of racism personally in my life. However, okay, see, because this person has said, I wish white authors would stop describing Asian characters in an offensive way. Is this book racist? Like, I genuinely want to know, do you find Eleanor and Park a racist book? Absolutely unbearable. 1 fucking star jail. I have never been tortured as much as reading this book in my life. Everyone gets punished in their lives, and I believe reading this book is one of those punishments. I feel like I now need to reread this book to see if there are racist undertones that I just am not remembering. Bit racist, bit fat shamey, bit fetishy, very boring. Literally nothing happens apart from staring at each other, holding hands and kissing for 90% of it, and then for the last 10% it finally picks up pace, but so not worth the wait. I am beginning to fear that this book isn't what I'm remembering that it was. I haven't read this book in literal years now, but I hope it's not. I actually have a tattoo for this book. I now fear that I'm missing a lot of undertones in that book that I'm just privileged enough to have not understood when I read it last. I don't know. I feel like maybe I should definitely need to reread it because we can't ignore racism, especially not at this day and age. That literally feels like such a weird way to end the video. Is this book racist? If you like this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. I hope you guys liked this one. I hate how that ended. I really did, but I hope you guys found the video entertaining, at least before that last part. But if you guys want me to do a reread of Eleanor and Park, I definitely will. I am doing like a nostalgic November thing where I'm going to reread all of like the books that I loved when I was younger, and that is one of them. I'm also planning on doing like the Hunger Games and stuff, because that's like when the new Hunger Games movie is coming out, so I'm going to reread the books before then. But I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.